Hello and welcome to this video of our Burstner i700 motorhome, otherwise known as Bernie G. Today we will be looking at the various features, where items are stored and how everything works. If you look at the video notes, you'll find a list of times for each item so you can quickly locate them on your adventure. Okay, let's do it. So the first things is the keys. Bernie will come with 3 keys: ignition key, 1 key which does the doors and all of the lockers, and a smaller key which does the D handle adjacent to the habitation door. These buttons here you can ignore, central locking and alarm. There actually isn't one on. So using our key, we unlock. Now you're going to want to release the electric step, and there's a button just on the left here, which if you press and hold it, out comes the step. And if you need help getting in or out, it's quite handy. We have the D handle here. Moving around Bernie, we have a selection of lockers underneath the chassis. And to unlock these, it's the same key that does the doors and all the lockers. Just twist, you'll see the button pops out. Twist it, and then you're open, and then there is a stay, just like a bonnet stay here. And in this first locker, we have a portable charcoal barbecue, very effective. It comes with 1 bag of charcoal that we supply for your trip. And all we would ask is, when you're finished with it, just give it a quick clean out, put it back in the same locker, please. In the second locker, this is actually a full width locker, so you can get to it from either side. There is a fold up picnic table and also 4 fold up chairs. Also in here we have the grey water waste tank, which holds 100 litres, and there is a drain off tap for that, which you can empty at the site. This is not the water from the toilet, this is purely from the showers and the sinks. So onto the third locker. This is where various items are stored. There's a basic toolkit. There is your hookup lead, which I will show you in a second, and this is your hygienic friendly water hose for filling your water tank, which is on the other side, which holds 120 litres. Now, to remove the cassette once it's full, there is a light inside that tells you, lift up and pull out. And then to empty this, twist the spout round, unscrew the end, make sure you're over an official brown waste disposal unit, and you need to keep your finger on this button, and that just releases any air locks that might be in there. After you've rinsed it out, flick that round and then push it back in all the way until you hear the click, and then you're good to go. So once you're on site and you have a 240 volt power hookup, this is the lead you need. Very straightforward. You just need to slide the lid into that gap there, push it in, and then that's done. And then at the end, when you're ready to leave, pull that down and out you come. Okay, so to open the full length awning, you need the handle, which is in this first locker with the barbecue. Very straightforward. Just hook the handle into this eye, and then anti-clockwise, if you wind it out about halfway, which is about 5 or 6 feet, and then at this point we can lower the legs. To release the leg, there are instructions here, but it's far easier to show. Unscrew this wheel, fold him back, and then down you come, and then you can adjust the height of the legs that you want. So there, And then from there, you can continue winding out, obviously doing both legs, and then adjust to get them level. If the wind picks up, really needs to come back in. So once you've finished and you want to put the legs away, it's very important that the centerpiece, i.e. this footrest, goes under the red tag, like so, and that then locks it in place. Same on the other side. So onto the back of the motorhome, I've got a 4-bike rack, and to lower this, just literally push them out the way, bit of a yank, and down it comes. And if you haven't used one of these before, quite straightforward. Your bike would sit here, back wheel, front wheel. That would go through the spokes, around the wheel, and just pull it tight. Same there. And then, depending on which bike you're clamping on, if you've got the one at the back, you would use this, and this would just go around the crossbar or whatever's convenient. Pull it tight, and then you're set to go. Moving around to the passenger side, the rear locker is, like I mentioned before, a through locker, so you can see right through to the other side, but the door here is a bit smaller. I'll get my knee pad for this. And inside here there is a ground sheet and also some pegs and a hammer, so if this is to go underneath the awning. And also in here are some wood blocks and the handle for your drop down legs. So, if you crank this side, and when you know roughly where your foot's going to go, in this case, because we're on soft ground, we'll use this wood block and just keep cranking until you see the motorhome start to lift, and then that should stop most of the rocking around. Winding the leg back up is self-explanatory, but one thing you just have to be careful of is to make sure that it does actually go back in the same direction that it came down and doesn't try and go up the other way. Otherwise, it won't lock into place. You'll see when you get there is a kind of little notch that it goes into, and then you're locked. So, the next locker is your LPG or Calagas bottle storage locker. This is where the gas is kept for your cooking, heating, and sometimes fridge, which I will come on to later. When you get burning, it will come with one totally full gas bottle and one partially empty. If your gas does run out halfway through your holiday, you're going to need to switch over from the empty one to the full one, which is quite straightforward. A couple of things you're going to need to do is turn the gas off at the top clockwise and turn the gas off on the regulator. Once you've done that, you can undo the coupling with this adjustable spanner and switch it over to the new bottle. Now, something very important that catches a lot of people out is that on Calagas bottles, as this sign says, they are left-hand thread. So when you go to undo it, it's not lefty loosen, it's actually the other way around. So we turn it to the right, and that is actually undoing. And once it's connected, open the gas, open the valve, and then you can get cooking again. So the fourth locker is where the chocks are kept. You're going to need these if you're not on a level standing, and dependent on where the slope is, depends on which wheels you'll put these under, whether they're under the left side, right side, front or rear, and is literally put them under the relevant wheel and then drive up very carefully with somebody watching, and once you get to the required height, stop, handbrake on, leave it in gear, and then hopefully you're level. There is a spirit level inside which we tend to leave on the table, and then it's quite handy to keep an eye on when you're driving up to see when to stop. Also in the locker with the chocks there is this what looks like an air line. It's actually a pressurised water line, You can use this for hosing down bikes, muddy boots, children, whatever you fancy. This is fed from the same 120 litre water tank inside, and assuming you've got water and it's turned on inside, and you need to then switch this valve like so it's going in the flow of the pipe, and then you're ready to squirt water. So the final locker is not one you should ever need to go to, but you need to know what's in here. This is the fuse board, so if anything trips, this is where the fuses can be checked. It is actually written in German, but there is a handbook in the glove box which describes everything you need to know. And whilst we're on this side, various vents. We have the vent for the cooker, vent for the fridge and the freezer, and this is the vent for the boiler that does the hot water and your heating. Nothing to do there. Your fresh water goes in here. There is a gauge inside, and your diesel here. All we ask is that when you return, please make sure the diesel is full. Okay, so we're inside the motorhome now, and above the habitation door is your control panel. Ordinarily it will just show the time, and this little icon here for the tap, which means that the water pump is turned on. The buttons down the left, if you flick through, it tells us the temperature inside, the temperature outside, date and time. If you flick down to the next one, which is a battery, it shows the condition of the batteries in the rear, which are the habitation batteries under the floor. The voltage, 13.2 volts, which is good. And if you press it again, it shows you the front battery, which is the engine, again 13.3 volts, so good. Next one down is this sort of water tank thing. Press it once, it shows you the how much is in there, how much water, 50%. It goes up in 25% increments. Press it again, it shows you the waste tank, which is 0, so it means it's empty. And if you press this button at the bottom, this turns off the voltage. So when you're leaving the motorhome, you should do that, and that just shuts down the power and saves all your battery life. So inside we have light switches everywhere. We also have switches here for an external light underneath the awning, which is very handy. There's various other lights dotted around. Oh, that's an extractor fan. And also all the down lights have individual switches on. These are all powered from the domestic batteries, the ones in the rear, or if you're hooked up to the mains. When you are hooked up to the mains, you have conventional sockets that you have at home. There's 3, there's one here, and there's another one down next to the switch for the external water hose. You do need to be connected to the mains for these to work. So in the galley area, hot and cold running water. If you do run out of water and you first go to use the taps again, you need to just to run them for a minute or so just to get any air out of the system. The worktop area, this section you'd fold up when someone is in this bed, but ordinarily keep that down, you've got a nice area. And the gas hob, we have 3 ring gas hob. Assuming your gas is turned on, it's just a case of turning the gas on, keep your finger on the igniter, and just keep your finger on the gas for 5 or 6 seconds, and then your gas is lit and away you go. Okay, so we have cupboards absolutely everywhere, and they all have these buttons that when you're in transit they need to be like that, so your doors don't come flying open. But in here you have your cups, glasses, flasks, pots, pans, kettle, first aid kit, and in the bottom drawer, same again, frying pan, everything you need. Above here is your fridge. These need to be locked while you're driving, otherwise your fridge door will fly open. And these are quite delicate, so you know the key is not to be too ham-fisted. There's your fridge, full-size fridge. Above this is your freezer. Now, whilst we're on the fridge and the freezer, this is a three-way fridge. So this fridge will run from gas, 12 volts, sorry, that's mains, or 12 volts. Now, you would ordinarily just leave it in the auto mode and it will select the best option for it. So if you're hooked up to mains, that would be your best option. What it's done now, we're not plugged into the mains and the engine's not running, so it's decided it wants gas. So you can probably hear the gas just came on. There's a little clicking of the igniter, and now the fridge is running on gas. But generally leave it in this mode. This is your thermostat for your fridge. So again, keep it round to maximum in the summer. And next to this is your oven and grill, which is this here. So works as you might expect. Twist it round, press it in, hold it in for a few seconds, and you'll see it's lit at the back there. So that is now the oven is lit, and you can just adjust to whatever temperature you need. And if you want the grill, turn it to off, and then turn it round. Same again to grill. Keep it held in for a few seconds, and your grill is alight. Okay, that's your cooking area. Okay, what we're looking at here is the controls for the hot water and the heating. So this top one here relates to your hot water. At the moment we are off. If you turn it round to the first one, it says 40 degrees. That will warm your temperature up. There's a boiler behind here that holds 15 litres. That will warm up to 40 degrees. Turn it round one more and you're on 60 degrees, hot water only. If you were to flick it down to here, we have now got heating. The heating is on, and this is again via the boiler, and there are air vents distributed around a motorhome that blow warm air out of. So if you're on this position, you've got your heating on. If you go one more, you've got your heating on and your hot water. This dial here is your temperature, so 5 being maximum heat and obviously 1 being the least. This bottom dial is the source of how you heat your boiler. So at the moment we're on gas. If you're hooked up to electricity, you'd flick it round to this first one. It's number 1, which is 1 kilowatt of power depending on the site. If you've got a good site with good electricity, 2 kilowatts of power. If you bring it down, so we go 2 kilowatts, 1 kilowatt gas. If you go to this one, this is gas and 1 kilowatt, and then that one is gas and 2 kilowatt. So this will be the fastest way to heat your water, but you will need to be hooked up to electricity and have gas bottles. So at the rear of the motorhome, underneath one of the beds, we have the 3 shut-off valves for the gas. These are just the heating, the fridge and the cooker. You should never need to touch these, but just in an emergency you know where to isolate them. Underneath both of the single beds are storage areas. This one has got the clothes horse, couple of umbrellas if you're in England, and in this blue bag is a wraparound for the windscreen, which is a thermal wraparound, so it can keep you warm or cold, and it's total blackout if you do want to keep opening and closing the blinds. Next to that is the boiler, which we touched on earlier. So this is where your hot water is stored, 15 litres in there. Again, you don't need to touch that at all. The beds will come made up with fresh linen and throws for the day. On this side, this is purely storage. So if you lift up You've got loads of room for your bags and cases and so on. Okay, we're in the dining area now, and just before I move on to the table, I'll just show you these windows. They're all the same. Pop them open. If you ping them up a couple of times, they'll stay in position. You need to release them, do the same. They're quite delicate, so you have to be quite gentle with these. We have fly screens, or we have blackout blinds as well, or you can have a combination of both. Again, a little bit delicate, so please be careful with those. This table has a section that spins around, so you can extend it accordingly. And that is your dining area. Now, chairs. Both chairs swivel around. There's a lever on the left, and they just spin around, and you can move them backwards and forwards like so, and the driver's seat is exactly the same. So because this is an A-class motorhome, we have a full width king size bed. In order to drop that, we need to fold the chairs down, which you do just by twisting the side and letting that go down. Same on this seat. And then press the button that says press, funnily enough, and then just pull it down, and there is your king size bed. You have a ladder that clips on here, like so, and there is also a skylight here which you can open any warm evenings, and you can also have the fly net across there as well. Plus there is a blind here if you wanted a bit of privacy at night. When you're finished with the bed, just unhook the ladder, put it with the clip side up in the middle. Very important that you click that back in, otherwise that will land on your head when you go over the first bump. The TV is housed behind this roller shutter door. Flick that lever up, keeps the door open. The TV is on a pull-out bracket that you need to release by pressing in these two black kind of trigger things. Once you do that, out comes your TV, and then you can swivel it around to whatever angle you like. The remote control is kept in here, and then from here it's just like a normal TV. It has got a DVD player as well, and if you press source and select DVD, there's a DVD slot that goes in the side. Above here you have got air conditioning as well. This will only work when you are hooked up to the mains, and it is literally press the button, it's already set on cold, and then you'll get cold air coming out. But as I said, you have to be hooked up to the mains for that, same as the three pin plug outlets. In the bathroom now, and behind the toilet we have a cupboard stroke wardrobe with hanging rail. This is where your towels are kept, and you can keep your bags and so on. Down the bottom is a RCD fuse box. This is for when you're connected to the 240 volt mains hookup. So if there's any issues, check those first. Above we have the TV aerial, which you saw on the aerial shot, going up and twisting around to get tuned in. And to the left, this white plastic box is the TV aerial amplifier that needs to be on for to receive signals. In the bathroom now, we have the chemical cassette toilet, which does actually spin around to give you more room if you're drying off after a shower. Much like any other toilet really, the only difference being you have a slider on the side here which opens up into the cassette. So in order to flush the toilet, you have this button on the side here. There is also a little blue light that if that lights up, that means your cassette is full, and empty it. but to flush it's just one quick press. That's all you need. Don't go mad pumping, because otherwise your cassette will fill up very quickly and you'll be having to empty it all the time. And once you're finished, slide the lever over and then away you go. We have also, by the way, got some chemical stuff here that once you have emptied the cassette, just put a cap full of this in there, one touch of water, and that will keep it smelling nice in there. Selection of cupboards throughout, and the wash basin, same again, hot and cold, running water, and your light switch is there. Shower area, concertina doors. Very important that when you're driving, the latch is down so that the doors don't rattle around and drive you crazy. The shower itself, pretty self-explanatory. There's a mixer tap here, same as you'd have at home, hot and cold. Pull it out to start the water flowing. In the bathroom you have the skylight with blackout blinds and mozzie curtain. We also have a skylight that opens, and to do this just press the button in, pull the lever down, and that slides all the way back, or you can have it in an interim position. When you're driving, please make sure they're all closed. There you go. So, in the galley area we have the skylight that opens, same as all the other windows. You have your mozzie nets and your blackout blinds for night time. And if you want to open this one, just pop this handle out anti-clockwise, opens it right up, and then you get a nice bit of fresh air. But obviously when you're finished and you're coming home, remember to close it. It is on the checklist, but easily forgotten. So, driving Bernie, much like any other van or large vehicle, but a few things that I will point out to you. Over on the driver's door, electric windows, we have electric mirrors, adjustable left and right. The next switch along is for your heated mirrors. These two are if you wanted to have the radio turned on with the ignition turned off for any reason. You would just flick those and it would override it. There's a light here that's very important. If this light is on, it means that the side step is still out and you don't want to drive off with your step out. So just double check that. All of the windows have lines that pull across. Again, quite delicate, magnetic, so you have to be a little bit careful with them, including the windscreen. Or you could use the silver wraparound that hooks around the doors and just leave that on all the time, and then you don't have to mess around with these. Other functions, cruise control, which is once you've got your desired speed, flick it on, and then if you move it up, that'll increase your speed, that will decrease, and then there's a resume button to turn it on and off to get back to your last speed if you like. Stereo, DVD player, FM, Bluetooth as well, and this is also your reversing camera, so if your engine's on or your ignition's on and you select reverse, it'll automatically bring up the rear view camera. Other than that, storage space everywhere. This glove box here is actually air conditioned as well, so when the air conditioning's on, that keeps your drinks and so on cool. Okay, that's the end of our presentation video for Bernie the Motorhome. I hope you found it useful and informative. If you need anything else at all, contact me, or feel free to ask any questions at the handover. Thanks very much, have a good holiday.